Algebra I Honors, Lesson 3.1, Writing Equations, and Lessons 3.2 and 3.3, Solving Equations with Adding, Subtracting, Multiplying, and Dividing. So, what's the difference between an expression and an equation? Well, an expression has no equal sign. An equation has an equal sign, and it doesn't always have to be solved. Whereas an expression is just something you write out. So now we're actually going for equations where you have to find the equals. 5 times number A, 5 times A is equal to 3 times the sum of B and C. 3 times, and the way it's written, they want this. And that's confusing. This is called, for me, words to math. People have a lot of problems with this, so don't get hung up on it. Comes into math, you just need practice on word problems more than anything else. 9 times y subtracted from 95, and a lot of people don't want to think, they just want to say, oh, 9y minus 95. Read and listen. Reading is far and away the most critical skill in any field of study, much more important than mathematics. 9 times y subtracted from 95 equals 37. Translate these equations into sentences. Let's go backwards, which is what math always does. One way then the other to see if you've got it. 3 times m plus 5 equals 1. W plus V equals the square of y. Now, for word problems, developing a plan to solve them usually helps. Consistency is a key. Here's some steps to remember when you're working through a word problem. Explore it. Read it. Think about it. What's going on? A lot of people just, all right, I'm just going to start running with this. No, slow down. I don't want to do this. I want to move on. Well, math is challenging. Math is meant to be something that you have to work at, to be good at. Just because a lot of people can do it easily doesn't mean it is easy. Make a plan. All right, I think I'm going to do this. I can't tell you how many times I've done a word problem. All right, I think I'm going to do this. And I get 3, 4, 5 steps into it and go, nope, I'm not doing that. That didn't work at all. Go ahead and solve it. And then when you're done, does it make sense? That's consistency. Examine. Is my solution consistent? They're talking about dollars and cents here, and I got $10 million, and we're talking about buying a few hot dogs. Clearly, I've made a mistake. So, best to just jump in. First ice cream plant was established in 1851. Oh, ice cream. Today, 2 million gallons are produced every day. That's crazy. And how many days can 40,000 gallons of ice cream be produced? So we make 2 million a day. It would appear to me that we're going to multiply by D, which I would always define this. And then those days are going to cancel, D days. And I'm going to be left with 40 million gallons. I really shouldn't do these kind of problems before lunch. So what do I multiply by 2? I can play with this for a little bit. I can solve it, which we're going to work on. But it seems to me like D is going to equal 20 days. 20 times 2 is 40 million. Looks good. So I played with it, explored it, solved it, and then checked it. Examined my answer. Try writing a word problem given the information below. A is Raphael's age. A plus 5 equals Kate's age. A plus yada yada yada. I don't know what that is. So we don't have to define Raphael. That's something you would have done in the problem. Kate is 5 years older than Raphael. This looks like Kate to me, and this looks Raphael. Raphael's age plus twice Kate's age is 46. Now I tie it together. How old is Raphael and Kate? Stop and breathe for a second. You've probably been trained not to guess and check. Well, I've got to solve this algebraically or my teacher will give me no credit. I'm not going to say right or wrong on that for whatever teacher you're working with, but I will tell you that guess and check is one of the best solution techniques in any arena I've ever come across. However, it's not pure guess and check. It's intelligent guess and check. Twice times Kate's age plus Raphael's age. You know what? Raphael's older. Kate's probably 15. Raphael's 10. Plug it in and see what happens. 15 plus 5 is 20 times 2 is 40 plus 10 is 50. Hey, I'm close. So that's a great starting point. And I'm not going to say, well, I think Raphael's 10 million years old. Intelligent guess and check. A very handy technique. Now, how do we solve those equations using addition, subtraction, and multiplication, division? Remember that it's a seesaw. That's your equal sign. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do it to the other. Otherwise, it becomes unbalanced. No good. So, here it is with adding to both sides. You'll forgive me, this is second nature as breathing. Plus 48, plus 48, m equals 77. Now, this is again back to the lazy factor. You're young, and you are generally going to be lazy. Do your best to break that habit early. I know people who figured it out when they're 10. I know people who figured it out when they're 15. I know people who figured it out when they're in college. And I know people who figured it out when they were 35. If you want to be lazy and just move on with your life, you're going to lose. You're going to fail because life is hard. Take your time and check your answer by putting in your calculator 77 minus 48. Hey, it works. I checked it. It takes an extra second. You get it right. You might learn something. That's why you're here, not to get an A, to learn something. Grades are just incentive. How do I get this 21 out of here? I subtract it from both sides. Negative 18 minus 21, negative 39. Put it back in and check it. It works. Add 12 to both sides. You can start to see why we got into the integer things previously. Negative 27 plus 12 is negative 15. Check it. It works. Fractions owe the humanity. Subtract 3/4 from both sides. G equals, these cancel, negative 1/8 minus 6/8. I just took this one and multiplied it by 2 over 2, which I'm allowed to do. It's the same thing. G equals negative 7/8. Check it. It works. Don't be lazy. You're wasting your time. Your time is precious, believe it or not. When you get older, you will wish you had more time. Write an equation using the given information and solve. A number increased by 5, x plus 5 is 42. Now we go back to the technique we've just developed. Check it, it works. In the 14th century, 1,000 miles of the Great Wall of China was repaired. The wall was extended. When the wall was completed, it was 2,500 miles long. How much of the wall was added during the 1300s? 1,000 miles was repaired, and the wall was extended. 1,000. By the way, 14th century means 1300s, in case you're confused by that. I know I was. Plus some x got us to 2,500 miles. That is a big wall. Minus 1,000. Minus 1,000. X is 1,500. Units are nice. Math teachers are horrible at them. Make a habit of always writing it in. It's a good thing. The average time it takes to manufacture the car in the U.S. is 8 hours longer than it takes to manufacture in Japan. I dispute that fact. I think that's nonsense, but that's just me. Write an equation using the given information to find out how long it takes to manufacture a car in Japan. 25 plus 8 equals x. Why do we use x? It's a nice number. My bad. Minus 8. So in Japan, we see they take 18. Try again. This is why we check. 17 hours to make a car. The average time to manufacture a car in Europe is 36 hours, something I also dispute. Find the difference between the annual average manufacturing times of Japan and Europe. 36 minus 17. 19 hours. And I love how they slip these little subliminal, oh, our culture's not very good. It takes us a long time to make a car. That's nonsense. Don't worry about it. How do we do it with multiplication and division? Well, we're careful with our signs. But otherwise, it's the same thing. I'm going to rewrite some of these. I usually don't. It just gets messy. Whatever I do to one side, do to the other. Multiply by 30. Multiply by 30. These cancel. That's why I multiplied by 30. T equals 210. Tricky. Divide by 2 1/4. Divide by 2 1/4. G equals, I have to change this over. And I have to change this over. I'm fast at them. If it bothers you, then take your time and do it right. Which is 3/2 times 4/9. Cancel, 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 cancel. Yes, I can cancel like that. 2/3. Should be trying all these on your own. So if you haven't paused this already, you should. And even though I haven't said it, I have been checking as I go along. My handwriting gets pretty sloppy as I buzz through these. Creative process is messy. Enjoy it. Notice S is a bad letter to use because it looks a lot like a 5, especially the way I draw it. Here's where I would usually do it. Just throw it up top. Bye. X equals 16. X equals 12. Notice I'm handling all the negatives on the fly. Check that one. Check that one. So be careful. Be smart. Now we've got a word problem, which a lot of math geeks hate that. Just let me crank out problems. No, this is the whole point, so you can actually solve word problems. Neil Armstrong stepped on the surface of the moon. His suit and life support package weighed about 33 pounds. The weight of anything on the moon is about 1/6 of the weight on the Earth. 1/6 times weight on Earth. That's called a subscript. It means weight on Earth. It's not subtracting or dividing or anything. Equals 33 pounds. Cool. Times 6 by times 6. Weight on Earth is 198 pounds. Again, be good about your units. Negative 18 times a number equals negative 198. Find the number. Negative 18. Anytime you have a negative, put it in parentheses. Times a number equals negative 198. I'm not putting in parentheses here because there's nothing being multiplied by it. Divide by negative 18. Divide by negative 18. Negatives cancel. X equals 11. Checked. 2 1/2 times a number. 2 1/2 times a number is 1 1/5. Earlier I did this and then I transformed the numbers. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. I'm going to do it now because it's so much easier. 1 times 5 plus 1 is 6/5. Times 2/5 times 2/5. Cancel, 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 which is the whole point. Nothing here cancels. X equals 12 25ths. Yep, checks. That is it. Buzzed through a lot of math there in a short amount of time. Practice. You've got to just get out there and do it for yourself and see if what you're doing is right or wrong. And there is nothing more important than getting this right. So as in all things, happy math.